Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is the Crysis 3 multiplayer beta? Well, the question I suppose you've first got to ask yourself is this a beta or a demo? It's hard to tell these days. A lot of demos are labeled beta for whatever reason. And demos are things that I tend to avoid on the channel unless I have a lot of points that I need to make, such as, say, the XCOM demo. Something that monolithic, something that important when it comes to PC gaming history. That kind of requires a little bit of analysis here and there. Something like Crysis 3, maybe not, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. They're calling it beta, I'm going to assume that it is beta. And as a result, of course, that means that everything you see in this video is not necessarily representative of the final product. Although, considering how close it is to release, it's probably going to be pretty damn similar. So, of course, this is the latest FPS from Crytek, published by EA, the third in the Crysis series, supposedly the end of the Crysis trilogy. But it will not be the last Crysis game if recent analysis and interviews are anything to be believed. This multiplayer beta is currently free for everyone on Origin and has two game modes. It's got Crash Site and it's got Hunted. Crash Site is more like a King of the Hill style mode where these alien pods crash around the level. You have to rush there to secure it quickly. They then explode. You then get the next one. And Hunted is an interesting variant of hide and seek whereby almost everyone plays a cell operative, a pretty standard foot soldier, and they're being hunted by a couple of guys in nanosuits that are permanently cloaked with a bow and arrow that can one-shot them even if it hits them in the toe, which is a little unpleasant. We're going to show you both of those. Okay. In the meantime, let's have a look at the options menu, and then I'll talk a little bit about the game and tell you whether or not it's any good. So, options menu here is annoyingly limited, mostly because for some reason there's supposed to be an FOV slider here and a bunch of other stuff. That's only available when you actually go into the game itself. So, while you're standing around waiting to be shot, then you can customize your FOV. Why? Why is that just not here? I don't even know. It's stupid, but what I will say is yes, you can customize your FOV, which is pretty good news. These graphics are, fairly limited, but you can, of course, customize a little bit more than that. Anti-aliasing I've turned off because the beta does have some frame rate problems, so I'm just going to keep that away. Let's see here. Game effects, objects, particles. A lot of stuff you can customize. I've knocked down the shadows a little bit just to gain a few more frames. Texture resolution, I keep trying to turn this on to very high and it keeps defaulting to high, so I guess maybe it's just a demo thing. So this is kind of good because there were complaints about Crysis 2 having really low resolution textures. It would appear that they have taken that into account. Crysis 3 would seem to have higher resolution textures. This is good news for everybody. Needless to say, motion blur is turned off because it is the most annoying feature to ever exist in video games. Everything else is pretty much standard. You can rebind your keys as you might imagine. That's general. If you go to keyboard, you'll be able to rebind everything. So, overall options menu is certainly superior to the initial release of Crysis 2, and I think the Crysis 2 demo, whereby everything was horribly consoleized and there were literally no options to speak of. Thankfully, it seems that they have not repeated that mistake. That's always good. Alright, let's have a look at the progression system, shall we? So, the multiplayer is pretty bog standard, really, in terms of the way that it deals with progression. You level up, you unlock new stuff. Let's have a look at some primaries. Alright, so that is the Marshal. This is the weapon that I've been using. Not exactly high level with it, I'm only level 2. Got a few kills, 10 or so with it. The Scarab has made its return, of course. Pretty much the classic assault rifle of Crysis. There's your assault rifle, you've got your sniper rifle, heavy weapon, and then if you head along here, you can see a few other things like the Feline X3 submachine gun, which was in Crysis 2, the FY7, which I think is just an AK-94, also available here. New weapon in the form of the Predator bow. Chances are you have probably seen it in the marketing materials. This thing is very, very dangerous, does a huge amount of damage, and you can also customize it, but unfortunately it seems like you can't actually get it in the demo outside of the Hunted mode. So I will be able to show it to you, I just won't be able to customize it. You've then got this, which is just a medium machine gun, and the Typhoon, a stacked projectile gun. It's essentially a minigun of sorts, a mini-gun. Aside from that, everything's pretty bog standard, which is in itself kind of disappointing. There's not a huge amount of primary weapons available here, and most modern shooters actually outdo it in that respect. Let's have a look at attachments. So as you can see here, I can add a reflex sight to it. or I could add a laser sight if I was the right level. So they have decided to do the same stupid thing that a lot of games are doing these days, and I wish they wouldn't, which is arbitrarily restrict certain kinds of scopes to certain levels, regardless of the fact that scope choice is very much a subjective and highly personal preference. God, it's dumb. It really is. I assume it is to artificially lengthen the treadmill. I'm going to hold myself back from calling it a grind because I know what a real grind actually is, but what I will say is that this is a treadmill designed for people that are obsessed with the notion of unlocking things. They need little treats in order to keep them playing. It's a very disturbing trend within modern FPS when it comes to multiplayer. Having everything unlocked from the start is actually considered a bad thing. I read a post on Reddit a couple of days ago where someone was actually disappointed that the new weapons in the Chivalry patch were unlocked by default, and that he wanted to have to work to unlock them. It boggles my mind, it really does. This is just so stupid, because iron sights may very well be the sight that someone actually likes a lot, and yet they get it at level 1, but if they want a scope, they've got to get it at level 5, or laser sight. It's stupid. This is all very personal preference stuff. So this stuff should not be locked. There are a couple of games that do it right. The original Black Ops, not Black Ops 2, they screwed it up. And of course, PlanetSide 2 allow you to unlock pretty much any scope you want at the same time. It's about personal preference, isn't it? Alright, well, I'm going to toss a reflex sight on this, because why not? You know, it's either that or no sight, right? Could add a muzzle brake or suppressor, so, you know, it's a shotgun. You can't really get much with that. Very disappointing that the underbarrel only has an extended magazine. I mean, really? Is that the best thing they could come up with? Apparently it is. So, that's not even... There's no choice here. It's like either you have extended magazine or you don't, right? And it doesn't seem like it actually penalizes you in any way, shape, or form, so why would you not have an extended magazine? Also, weapon skins available here. We can head on over to the Scarab and have a look at some other stuff. So you got muzzle brake, suppressor, and match barrel. So that's a heavyweight barrel, increased accuracy. So, you know, just a little bit of customization here and there. I'm more impressed by the underbarrels for the assault rifle, because you can actually get a mini Typhoon, which is a shotgun, or an actual Gauss cannon, which is pretty nice. You know, that's the kind of thing I was looking for. But even then, you could just say, oh, well, that's just an underbarrel grenade launcher, essentially. So there's nothing here that would really surprise you, which is quite disappointing considering it is a very much a futuristic game. So you would hope for something a little bit more exciting there. All right, so we'll finish customization on that. Pistols-wise, you've got kind of the same stuff that you used to. The hammer makes its return, which is always nice. I love that pistol. That's the hammer 2 there. But there are, I think, only 4 secondaries available. The Majestic 6, which is a sweet-looking revolver, semi-auto pistol, machine pistol, and the hammer. And that's it. That's the only ones. Really, only 4 secondaries? That's a little bit weak. I'm hoping that this is just because it's beta and they're going to be adding more into the game, but the overall arsenal that you are provided here is... I'd say it's actually subpar in comparison to other games that currently exist on the market. As regards to your grenades, everything is pretty much par the course. You've got a flashbang, EMP grenade, frag grenade, a C4, and that, which is essentially a disposable RPG. There's also a smoke grenade. Once again, very disappointing, especially considering that games like Black Ops 2 have way more interesting items, incendiary stuff, deadly stuff, grenades, and all that kind of thing. If you're getting your ass kicked by Call of Duty when it comes to variety and originality, you are doing it horribly wrong. Okay, so we're going to head on into the perks. 3 perks, just again like every other FPS in the last 5 years, apparently. Auto armor is kind of a default thing, and it just turns your armor mode on when taking damage. This is quite literally not something that you actually need if you know anything about the game whatsoever. So this perk, as it were, is very much a crutch for new players, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. That's okay. Aside from that, Phantom, Scout, these are all kind of fairly obvious. Increased movement speed. You'll also notice that there's 3 tiers of it. So if you really didn't like the Pro perk system in the Call of Duty games, then you're going to hate this even more because this has got Pro. Yeah, wonderful. I hate the very notion of that. The reason I hate the very notion of it is that it just means that there's a larger gap between people that have played the game more when compared to people that have just started. I don't believe there's any necessity for this, really. Hell, Treyarch believed that it wasn't a good idea, which is why they took it out of Black Ops 2, so I feel that this whole multiplayer mode, at least in terms of the way the progression system works, is very much outdated, and it's got a lot of principles in it that have pretty much been left by the wayside by other companies because they realize that in the long run, it's actually not a very good idea. Yeah. And some of these perks are just flat out boring, and just like straight up stuff like XP bonuses and things like that. Yeah, I'm not impressed by that, honestly. It's unfortunate, but hey, there you go. So yeah, overall, progression system subpar, to say the least, and hopefully this is just because it's beta and there'll be better stuff in the full game, but somehow I kind of doubt it. Alright, let's jump into the game, shall we? And I'll show you the game modes and how it actually plays. Bear in mind that a progression system is not the only thing you need to worry about when playing video games. In fact, you should not really be all that concerned about it. Try being concerned about the game and whether or not that sucks. Okay, we're going to a quick match here. I'm going to show you Crash Site first, and then I'm going to show you Hunter. Crash Site is more of the meat and two veg kind of mode that a lot of people will most likely be playing. Hunter's a little bit more gimmicky, and I can't see people actually playing that on a regular basis, especially since it doesn't allow you to use custom loadouts in that mode. It's a pretty good mode for those wanting to sort of start off and learn the game and actually gain some experience in a more balanced environment, but it's still, as I said, a little bit gimmicky. Now, this has been having some problems today, whereby it's been stuck on retrieving session details, so what might end up happening, actually, is I'll probably just go to the server browser. Yes, there is a server browser. This worked really well yesterday, but isn't doing that today. I don't really know why. The server browser, however, seems to work absolutely fine, which is really, really good news. So we're looking for a Crash Site server with a pretty decent ping that isn't full. Would be nice to actually filter it in that respect. Good selection of filters. Pretty happy that that's there. So let's filter out the full servers, which didn't work at all. Oh, no, there we go. I can show them or not show them. Okay, that's fine. Right, well, that's a Hunter mode, so don't really want to jump on that. I'm going to see if I can get in this server. That's 15 out of 16. That would be pretty much ideal. All right, here we go then. So, I'm going to jump in this. So, Crash Site, as you can see, alien pods are going to come down. You stand inside the control radius to earn experience. You try and capture them and just make sure that you don't stand near them when they explode. So, that could be a little bit problematic for you. So, we'll try and do one full round of this. Now, there are some pretty nice default classes, so you don't really have to worry too much. I could have the Reflex Sight, or I could just go with this guy, which is quite nice. I like this because the hip fire spread is reduced, so that's a fairly suitable class for me. Alright, there we go. Okay, so as I was saying earlier, this is where you can actually customize this field of view thing. Why this is in-game and not available elsewhere, I really don't know. Now, currently, the game seems to be suffering from some frame rate problems, which is really quite unfortunate, because it does make the game a little bit more difficult to play. Not a huge amount. Ouch. God knows what just hit me there. Well, thankfully, the game will show me, as you can see. Apparently, someone might just sneak up behind me and shotgun me, but there you go. That's what I get for focusing on something else. Ooh, is there a bow here? Ooh, I could swap this out for a bow. Okay, cool. I can actually show you the bow. That's pretty neat. The frame rate problems seem to be kind of across the board. It may just be due to straight up low optimization of the beta. Hopefully that's something they will actually end up fixing. We'll go and try and hunt someone down with the bow. The Predator bow itself is a pretty decent weapon to the point where it'll actually one-shot somebody if you hit them in the right place. And you don't just have to headshot them either most of the time, unless, of course, they happen to be rolling with armor, which very well might happen. You can also, I believe, fire it while cloaked, which is kind of the best thing about the whole bloody thing. At least when you're in Hunter mode, you can. I'm not sure if you can actually do it here. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Ooh, missed him. Hitting stuff with it from a distance is a little bit tricky. Definitely not impossible, but it does take some effort, to say the least. And it's a kind of tricky thing to master, although, as you can see with the little sight there, it does tend to kind of show you exactly... Oh, wow, I just completely screwed that up, didn't I? There you go, you can have one in the face. I think I'll probably just switch to pistol now to finish that guy off. Or just get an assist, there we go. Wow, that was actually terrible. I hit him in the stomach and he didn't die, so there you go. It does take a little bit of getting used to. Obviously, the bow has a little bit of fall-off, which is obviously something to consider. It does have a nice zoom, and it also kind of indicates to you exactly where it's going to land, so it's not what I would call a massively difficult weapon to use, but it's it's definitely requiring just a little bit of practice. I certainly prefer my shotgun. It seems like if you're going to be using the Predator bow on a regular basis, then you're most likely going to want to use it with a stealth-orientated build. If you happen to be doing shotguns like this, then, yeah, not so much. But, you know, this build that I've got here is very much designed for shotgunning, and this is quite the beast. So, what about weapon handling? Probably the most important thing, I think, in FPS. I mean, I could talk about graphics and overall fidelity, but weapon handling is one of the most important and is key to an enjoyable FPS experience. In this case, there are certain guns that handle really, really well, and there are certain which are very much bullet hoses. Most of the SMGs and assault rifles are very bullet hosey. You can just aim down sights and just spray and things die Call of Duty style. Very disappointing. The shotguns, on the other hand, feel really meaty and have a lot of kick. Obviously, that was not exactly an ideal round, so I'll hopefully get the chance to show you a full one. Now, this is pretty cool. Match highlights. Now, obviously, they're going to be all of 2 seconds, because that was literally my only highlight, but what you're going to hopefully see at the end of the next match, hopefully I do some cool stuff, you are going to get the chance to see a set of match highlights based on what the game deems to be my coolest kills, which is very, very nice. I've never actually seen that before. Let's go for Crash Site and not Hunter, hopefully, but it depends what these guys actually vote for. Yeah, I've never really seen it do that before, and it does it in a really fluid and very nice way, and I was quite impressed by it. So hopefully you'll be able to see a highlight reel at the end of this match, and Airport with a shotgun is pretty good, because this is actually a map where there's a lot of indoor stuff, so I should be able to get in nice and close and personal and do some serious damage. Alright. After this, we'll have a look at Hunter. The game seems to have an awful lot of visual flair, which is unsurprising for Crysis. I wouldn't say that it's an incredible looking game, but I think that's really because they set the bar very, very high when it came down to Crysis. I mean, Crysis 1 was incredible. Crysis 2 looked great on consoles. I mean, it's not so good on PC. You have to kind of mod it to make it look seriously impressive, since it had a lot of problems with texture, resolution, and quality and things like that, which was less than impressive, but it's definitely not a bad-looking game. Anyone who says that Crysis is a bad-looking game is a goddamn idiot. It's, for the most part, pretty nice looking. The problem is, of course, that we only really have a couple of maps to check out, so it's kind of difficult to really determine exactly what's good and what isn't when you only have a couple of maps and they're fairly small in size. So it's harder to be impressed, I guess. Oh yeah, down you go. Where's the other guy? He's there. Oh, I hope to take his head off there, but I think I fired slightly above it. Unfortunate. You'll also notice that there's a pretty good replay and kill analysis for the most part, and this is getting fairly standard in games to actually have those kill cams here and there. Some people actually hate them because they reveal you if you happen to be hiding and strategically trying to stop people from finding you, but in this case, in more close quarters combat, and that was dreadful. He actually came right from the side. Wow, I had no idea I was being attacked by 2 people there. In this case, it doesn't really matter all that much, although I have a feeling that people who like to snipe and do a lot of stealth stuff with the bow are going to get seriously pissed off by the fact that that kill cam actually shows where they are. So perhaps that is something that they may wish to reconsider. I'm going to grenade that area. Give them a little of a flashbang. Down I go. I was going to try and ground slam them, but it failed miserably. It said press C to ground slam, and it just didn't. So, I'm like, alright, great. That's wonderful. And then get gunned down by 3 separate people. This is a really bad round. Hopefully I can do a little bit better than this. Gunplay-wise, I think the shotgun is, and some of the pistol play is probably the most enjoyable stuff. The rest of it is like, oh Christ, they've got one of those. So, someone managed to get one of those things. This is grim. Thankfully, there were some alien weapons lying around the place, which may make it a little easier to kill this thing. At least that was my hope at any rate, but looks like I may be out of luck there. Every now and again, you'll find some alien weapons. There's, like, some mortars and flamethrowers and things like that, which do make things just a little bit easier. And then, of course, every now and again, someone will get some ridiculous kill streak or whatever, and will run around in an alien battle droid, and screw that guy. As you can see, they've also put death streaks back in the game, which I fundamentally disagree with. I should not be rewarded for sucking, but it seems like that's happening anyway. I thought there was a weapon there. Oh, there is. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. This is the incinerator. I don't really know what it does, but I'm about to find out. Should hopefully be fun. It seems like these heavy weapons also restrict your movement, which is a sort of nice counterbalance. I don't really want to be running directly at him. Oh god, the stupid bloody alien battle droid thing is still around the place. Might want to try and kill it if possible. I'm going to try and sneak up on it. Am I doing damage from here? I don't know. I don't know. You're going down, son. You're going down. Oh, you... Wow, he got out and then killed me with a pistol. And just ran right through my flamethrower. That's great. What a wonderful weapon this clearly is. Ah, jeez, this is a terrible round. Good lord, I've got to do better than this. This is actually a re-record for those of you who are watching on Twitter. I actually lost my initial video, and I was gonna say, "Oh, it was a lot better, honest." It's like it really was, but this is just dreadful. Oh, come on! There we go. At least I got him and him. There we go. Oh dear, yes. After hearing enemies have enhanced their radar, I probably should have thought, you know what might not work? Cloaking. And cloaking is not that effective anyway in this game. It's actually pretty easy to see. Only if you're really at long distance will you probably find that it's not that effective. Oh god, what? Oh, how am I missing him every single time? This guy, I mean, he's just running around killing me with pistols and knives. It's like the third time he's killed me. The game also tracks, by the way, your personal battle record, which means that anyone that's... Oh, for crying out loud. Anyone that's kicking your ass, oh, it will remind you. This is a dreadful game for me. Now, the game does have the ability to use the kind of Crysis suit powers, so super run, maximum speed, which is now bound to your sprint key, which a lot of people actually objected to initially. Come on, you're dead, surely. Yeah, you're dead. There we go. I was gonna say. That would have been horrible. In the face. Nice. Much, much better. It also has the ability to super jump, which actually makes some of the combat really kind of silly. Every now and again, you just see people are sort of super jumping into the air because it's a really effective way of avoiding enemy fire. And plus, considering like the cone of fire on most of these guns is now non-existent, you generally don't really have to worry so much about actually hitting anything. Generally, in other games, if you jump around like a lunatic, then what tends to happen is you die horribly. Here, not so much. It doesn't really care. Do I have a good way of killing this guy? Well, I could just, shoot him. I guess that's probably a pretty good way of killing him. There you go. You can have one of those. Where'd he go? This bastard's invisible. Ah! Come on. Haven't pulled off the air stomp. I don't know what the hell's up with that. Ooh, there's a mortar there. There we go. I'm gonna grab that heavy weapon. Sweet. Not really sure how to use this thing, but I'll guess and probably fire in the general direction of the crash site and hope that that actually does the job. Alright, where are they? Where are they? I really want to shoot something with this. Oh, wow. Okay, this is quite the thing. I like these little alien weapons that are scattered around the place. That actually adds a nice little element to what would otherwise be sort of fairly basic. Oh, yeah, it's yet another standard run-of-the-mill progression-based aim-down sight shooter, right? I think I just mostly killed myself there than anything else. That was fairly diabolical. It's funny, you couldn't actually see me. You'll notice that there's essentially no kick-up or recoil whatsoever with those assault rifles. Which is... Oh, get out of my way. Which is unfortunate, because it does make them extremely easy to use. The pump-action shotgun is probably one of the more difficult weapons to use in this game, because it's got an incredibly slow refire rate. So, missing is a bad thing. Admittedly, it is also a beastie weapon. Apparently there was someone behind me shooting me, but hey. Yeah, he was right there. Got right up in my face. And it seems like the recap system doesn't quite work half the time. And it says, oh yeah, this guy killed me. It's like, really? How? So, oh, so sick. Very, very nice. Where did he go? Where did he go? Where did he go? I know he's here. At least he was. Have a bit of a slide move going on there. Yeah, there we go. Sliding is still in, just from Crysis 2, so that's always pretty cool. I think probably my overall assessment of the basic crash site multiplayer is it's sort of a marginal improvement. Did I just do what I think I did? Holy crap. Wow. Anyway, that's a bit better. There we go. That's a bit of an improvement on what's going. It's a marginal improvement on crash site from the original Crysis 2 multiplayer, which was like, it was okay, but it never really broke any ground. I think, it's got a couple of nice features here and there. The sliding is nice. Obviously, the cloaking adds a very The hell? The cloaking adds a very interesting element to the game. Apparently, that guy managed to successfully one-shot me with the shotgun. I've never managed to pull that off, but adding the armor and the sliding and the super jumping and things like that, and throwing in the alien weapons as well, does make, oh god, it's a fairly interesting marginal upgrade on what you would have otherwise seen a couple of years back with Crysis 2. Which was not a dreadful game by any stretch, but the multiplayer didn't really set the world on fire in any way. Not a huge amount of people really played it past the first couple of months, which was, annoyingly enough, it had an awful lot to do with the actual amount of hackers and cheaters in the game, which absolutely sucked. Let's see if we get shot with a predator bow. Yeah. Ah, you sneaky little show-off. Get more death streaks saying, hey, you suck. Let us give you a medal for that. Pfft, that was a dreadful round. Absolutely dreadful. Yeah, that would be how I describe it. I want to do another round because, quite frankly, I know I can do better than that. I came in second, even though I had a terrible KD ratio and literally no involvement whatsoever with the objective capturing, which would indicate to me that everyone else on my team was absolutely dreadful. But there you can see the recap that I was talking about. It's nice. It shows you some of your coolest kills. It sticks them together in a quite nice fashion, and that in particular, that was just gorgeous. I love that. So I'd be lying if I said I wasn't having fun with it. It's not too bad. It's just I want them to go so much further with it. I really, really do. Simply because there's all sorts of great things that you could potentially do with a futuristic shooter which is based on nanosuits and the ability to dynamically alter your statistics, right? Because that's essentially what the nanosuit is. You can increase your speed at the cost of energy, increase your armor at the cost of energy, you can do this, you can do that. This is the kind of thing that they should have gone way, 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 way further with. But unfortunately, it seems like they've gone completely backwards with it. Where's maximum strength, the ability to punch someone into orbit? Why couldn't they have thrown more stuff in there? All of this is what really, really disappoints me. It's like, come on, guys. You have an opportunity here. You can go way, way, way further. And just being Call of Duty with a nanosuit is literally not enough to interest me. I don't even know why I used the word literally there. I mean, because it's just like, that's self-explanatory, right? It is not enough to really impress me. I know a company like Crytek can do a lot better. I know that even, hell, the original Crysis Wars multiplayer for the original Crysis game, oh god, had a hell of a lot more interesting stuff involved in it than this one does. That said, this is the beta, so who knows what kind of crazy modes we're going to be seeing, but still, I have a feeling that this is most likely representative of what the experience is going to be, and as a result, I'm going to be thinking, oh, well, it's alright. It's okay. It's something that I'll have a bit of fun with here and there, but I'm not buying the game for the multiplayer, right? The thing is that the other half of me says, you know what, that's okay. I actually wasn't going to buy it for the multiplayer anyway, so the fact that they haven't really spent a huge amount of time and invested a lot of money into the multiplayer system, they've made, a reasonably solid but not exceptional multiplayer mode, is actually fine. And the reason it's actually fine is that, you know what, I wanted a really good single player. And it looks like maybe, just maybe, I'm actually going to get that. This guy is hacking. Wow, they've actually... Yeah, have you seen this guy? This is ridiculous. This guy must be hacking, surely. Look at him. Yeah, he's currently 17 for 1. Wow, the beta already has hackers in it. This is what I was saying earlier about the concerns that I was having with this. How do I vote kick? Yeah, absolutely. Let's get rid of this twat. The concerns in Crysis 2 seem to be mirrored in Crysis 3 in that the game's already got bloody hackers. It's absurd, really, isn't it? Absolutely absurd. I'm hoping these guys actually vote kick him because he is actually hacking, so it's pretty dreadful that that should even be available, really. AAA games shouldn't have hackers in so sodding quickly in the beta. But I don't know if anyone's going to listen. Looks like we've only got 4 people that want to kick him out. Great. It's amazing. Well, hey, I got you on video, bro, so hopefully EA looks at this. It's like, you know what? You really don't need any more? An Origin account. Cheating little bastard. Pathetic, really, when you think about it. Vote ended, not enough votes. Pfft. What's the point in putting a player ability in there to actually fix these kind of problems for people and then just have them not use it? Freaking apathetic players. Goddamn terrible. See if I can take this thing down. Apparently not. This is not going to be a better game. And I'm also going to die to this thing. Probably, I can't imagine that flashbangs work all that effectively against it, but hey. I am a brave man, and I will fight this stupid alien battle droid in open combat. And get obliterated by it. Oh, man. How utterly dreadful. Well, I'm going to show you the hunter mode once I'm done with this one. There's not really a huge amount else to say about it, honestly. It's mostly because it is so horrendously average in many, many areas, with the occasional exceptional thing every now and again that comes out and says, oh, wow, you know, this is really, really amazing. And unfortunately, it just, for the most part, actually isn't. Can't imagine who the hell would hack in a beta. I mean, how bloody pathetic is that? Jeez. What a twat. You know what, I'm just going to quit out of this. I can't be arsed with somebody like that. It's just, it's utterly pathetic to see. So I can't even get any kills because this guy's just running around one-shotting everything. Let's get into a Hunters match instead and show you the other game mode. Alright. Hopefully this actually works. If not, I'm going to have to use the server browser. Usually works, for the most part. Alright. Sweet. Looks like we're going right into this. So this game mode is a bit gimmicky. It's essentially zombies mode, whereby there are 2 hunters and then there's a bunch of cell operatives who are just regular soldiers. There's like 3 different classes you can pick, and then the hunter is default cloaked. It looks like I'm going to start as one as well. Interesting. Okay. As you can see, makes no sound, maximum stealth, maximum speed. And your objective is to hunt down all the cell operatives and hopefully not die in the process. Like him, which I screwed that up completely and got way too close to him. So cell operatives can kill you fairly easily, honestly. The best thing to do is to try and take them down via the use of stealth and just picking them off from a distance with the bow when they can't deal with you. Getting in close to them is generally a death sentence, because you might think, oh, well, you're in a nanosuit, that's great, right? Well, it's actually kind of not. You get destroyed pretty quickly in close range. They've got very heavy weapons. There's 3 default classes there that you can use. So this is a nicely balanced game mode for people new to the game that are a little bit worried about going against people with full perks and upgrades. So it's a nice way to get a little bit of experience here and there. You can also notice that you can actually see the cell troops on the map. Ooh. Where are they? But it won't tell you, of course, height-wise where they are, so it looks like they actually managed to survive that. These are 90-second rounds. Most people start as Cell, and when you die, you respawn as a Hunter. So it's a mixture of hide-and-seek, the Half-Life mod, the Hidden, and, of course, grab my nice little shotgun. We do love the shotgun. And it's kind of zombies mode. It's all right. I mean, it's not amazing. This map actually has some pretty serious frame rate issues. It's not amazing. It's pretty fun for the most part. It often involves guys just sort of huddling together on certain parts of the map, which makes it a little bit less enjoyable. And it's surprisingly easy to do that. They give the hunters a thermite arrow, which is an explosive arrow that's designed to flush these cell troopers out, but there are several parts of the airport level in particular where it's extremely easy to hole up, not be killed by thermite arrows, and just absolutely obliterate any hunter that comes near. So it seems like they've done the hunters mode and then forgotten to actually design the levels in such a way that the hunters mode works well on them. So it seems like the amount of fun that you have in this mode is going to be pretty limited. Oh god, what the hell was that? It's going to be pretty limited depending on what level you happen to actually be playing upon. Some maps work pretty well for it. Some maps really, really don't. I know he's there. He's right there. Where'd he go? You can hear my proximity alarm going off in the background there, I think. There we go. That's him down. You do start with a fairly limited amount of ammunition as well, so if you get panicky and you start burning all your ammunition, you're forced to go to ammo points around the map, which puts you out in the open, and smart hunters will actually track you that way. Unfortunately, once again, the quality of the game seems kind of limited depending on how good the other guys are as hunters. Oh, wow. Yeah, you can just die. Thank you very much. There we go. Bad hunters mean for a really, really boring game. I have a feeling I'm being shot at here. Good hunters mean it gets really, really interesting really quickly, but here it's like, these guys really have absolutely no chance of winning the round. Looks like there's someone sort of fairly close by, but it's like, well, I can just kind of run around hunting people. And that's kind of the funny thing about hunter mode is that if you run around with a shotgun and you can recognize the telltale signs of a cloaked enemy, you can actually hunt them down. Because more often than not, people are really bad with the bows, so they miss the shot and then you just obliterate them with a shotgun because the refire rate is not so good and killing someone at close range with it is pretty difficult. I'm going to show you the Typhoon because that seems like it's kind of an interesting weapon. Because it is sort of like a minigun. Yeah, it basically does that. It's a minigun shotgun. It just expends rounds in such a crazy fast way. It's really, really insane. I mean, that's just really one of the only interesting weapons that's default to the game, aside from the stuff that you get from the alien corpses. And the fact that that's in the game is definitely a good thing, but it would have been nice if some of the default weapons were just a little bit more interesting. And overall modification and customization is just so weak in comparison to games like Black Ops 2, or, of course, you know, bloody Blacklight Retribution. I mean, that's the biggest thing. It gets its ass kicked by free-to-play games in that regard. I expect more from a AAA. I really, really do. But as I've said before, and this is the point that I'm still wrestling with, do I really care? I hope they're just focusing on the single player and they give a really good single player experience like the previous Crysis games. That's what I play Crysis for. I don't actually play it for the multiplayer. These hunters are not smart. I mean, really, what you want to be doing as a hunter is sort of hanging around the ammo points. It's usually a really, really good way to do it, but it looks like we're actually going to be in trouble here because there's already 8 hunters on the map, so things are about to get very, very interesting. Standing here might work. Oh, someone's coming in. The question is where? Just trying to keep an eye on that. Oh, wow, there's only 5 of us left. Okay. This is interesting. Best be careful. It's 30 seconds left. We might actually lose this round. This is where things start to get really crazy tense. All right. Oh, God, he's right there. Wow, the entire team just barreled on me. Because they could see me on the radar, so there's really nothing I could actually do there. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I just got knifed, so... There we go. That's the end of the Hunted round anyway. So, that's what Hunted is. It's okay. I mean, it's just a little gimmicky game mode. It's not too shabby, but there you go. So, that's pretty much the Crysis 3 multiplayer beta in a nutshell. It's average for the most part. It's nothing really to write home about, with the exception of a couple of really nice features. I hope they flesh it out more prior to release, but simultaneously, I hope that they don't spend too much time on it because I want the single player to be really, really good. And if the multiplayer is just kind of a bit of a filler that I dip into every now and again to extend the lifespan of the game, I'm really actually okay with that. It's not like Call of Duty where you buy it for the multiplayer and the single player experience is throwaway. I want a good single player Crysis. So this isn't really indicative of how good that's actually going to be in any real respect. It's solid, but as you can see in that video, my god, they need to sort those hackers out. Really. As in, ban their entire Origin account. Seriously. Any games they've got, just scrap them. Get rid of them. This is one of those times when I'm okay with EA being heavy-handed. You can try this out for yourself and gauge it and see what kind of opinion you have by heading over to Origin and downloading the Crysis 3 open beta for multiplayer. This should be available until kind of around the game's release, I would imagine. So you get an impression of it. It's alright. It's kind of part of the course, really. My name's been TotalBiscuit, taking a look at Crysis 3's multiplayer beta, and I will see you next time.